The journey, the experience, the hub. Inside Live at 10.
So you all know every Monday, once that clock passes 11, I switch my discussions. And we always find our place in this space where we are graced with very informed, impactful movers and shakers throughout our communities. I think that is what the service of man should always be. And this morning, I'm sitting here with the founder of the Roots Foundation. It began in 2025. So I have a bio here. The Roots Foundation became incorporated as a non-profit company on the 13th of November, 2029, under the Companies Act 1995 and registered as a non-profit organization on the 14th of June, 2019. And it goes on to give us that the Roots Foundation uses oral traditions with a focus on spoken word poetry and a catalyst for social change by providing safe spaces and or platforms for self-expressions and self-discovery of persons' raw talent using their lived experience and social realities. Mr. Mtima, good morning.
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
I was spot on with that.
Well,
wasn't I?
so you predicted something. You said 2025, it's 2005.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But no,
yes.
don't be sorry. Because not hopefully, by the will of God, by 2025, we should have established our Roots Cafe Titi Creative Academy for Edutainment. Yeah, so we received we released a building from the government.
Yes.
Right. This year, the 1st of May. So we're in the process right now of refurbishing the building. So when I hear you say 2025, I say
alignment.
Yeah, I say I'm not stopping her at all. Let her continue. To speak it into being.
Alignment, yes. I was graced with Isaiah and Emmanuel very early when I started this segment, The Hub.
Okay.
And I purposefully named it The Hub because if you look at a hub, everything and everyone passes through. Someone is getting to a destination or from a destination. And with the Roots Foundation, it's getting young persons to their destination, working with what or where they are currently at.
Yes.
It's a hub.
Yes, you're correct.
It is definitely a hub.
You are correct.
And then I came across the article a couple weeks in the newspapers when we were talking offline. And it is you making it your social duty to remind society that there is a lot more that can be done to help the youth to enhance themselves. And I think what is more importantly is identifying their purpose.
Yes.
Let's start there. Why the Roots Foundation?
Oh, God.
Why?
You have enough time?
We have time.
Well, pleasant good morning to your viewers and listeners and viewers.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because radio is now like TV.
Yes, it is.
Locally and internationally.
Yes,
right?
we have people from Ghana locked on this morning.
Well, I want to say a special good morning to Queen Mother from Elmina. Right, so they know in the game. So, why Roots Foundation? It really and truly started off with poetry, right? I started to write poetry at 16 years old. Lofting, I know.
Yeah, somebody take a look at.
Yeah,
Yes.
So I moved from the Dilemma paper. Like I get some good Dilemma papers in the time. So I moved from the Dilemma paper into the postcards, and then I say I could write my own poems. I started to write poems, and then because of my past experience, right, and it's not a shame. It's not a secret. Unfortunately, I've been there, done that. As a youth, I've been exposed to that gang culture, to street narcotics and stuff like that. And I realized that while I writing love poems, I have friends dying. Long time we used to call it the rara. right? When you die from HIV/AIDS or complications related to
Yeah.
we used to call it
Tuberculosis, these different things.
We used to call it natural causes when they die from gunshots.
Yeah.
And I realized that it's different on the streets, so I decided, let me try to target my thoughts to something that affected me and affected my friends. So I started to write about drugs, about gangs, about life on the whole. And it was, well, used to perform with the Islamic Resource Society Poets and Drummers, right? And at this emancipation lecture, after deceased Ahmad Baliwa and myself delivered our poems, the then featured speaker at that time was Fitzgerald Hines. He was the then Minister of National Security. And when he came up to give his speech, he kept referring to our poems. And I'm in the audience saying, but that's interesting. So if you don't want to listen to this long speech, you could just take in the poems and get the message. And that was actually the birth of Roots, reflections of our oral traditions. So we started
Reflections of our
oral traditions.
Right.
So we started as a newsletter. After we created a newsletter, went to annual magazine, and then you always want to do more.
Yeah.
Because there's that much a magazine could do.
Yeah. And it's something about creatives. I'm a creative, so I get it. It's something about creatives.
And that's why in 2014 thereabout we first registered. Right? And then in 2019 we did in 2009, so about what? The other timeline, but we registered as a non-profit, and then we started to do non-profit work in terms of, as I say, taking the youth from where they're at and helping them
transporting them to their purpose,
to realize their true potential.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. I always say, I could be wrong. I don't think our youth has get up in the morning and say, let me see who could kill me or who I could kill before the day out. Right? It's so many different factors that's at play. But if our youth is guided, right? And it's not easy. It's not easy to guide them, but if they are guided, because I was guided, right? And I always say, in Roots Foundation, I am selfish, meaning that a lot of the things I try to implement is because I didn't get that when I was their age, right? So I said, boy, I didn't travel when I was younger. Every youth that come into my space must travel. You must not born on a street and die on your street.
Yeah.
And literally die on your street because you can't go to the next street.
Correct.
Right? So every youth, when they come and say, you have a passport, you have a visa, organize yourself. And you're traveling. I have one youth man. He's in prison today for murder. Right? And I remember when going and looking for him, I say, wait now. How come you never travel with us? I said, I don't like you. Because everybody travel with us who came into our space. And then while in prison there in the visit room, here he telling me, Mr. Mtima, I now realize all the time you was fighting for me. And I was fighting against you.
Yeah.
I could speak different languages, eh?
Of course.
So I wouldn't speak that here. One of the languages I spoke, I say, bleeping recognize that? You in jail for murder.
And you
now realize I was fighting for you?
Yeah.
So it's not easy to guide our youth, especially when they wake up in the morning and they're not seeing anything to make them want, as Isaiah said in our program, to make it to 30, to make it to 25, to make it to the end of the day.
Correct.
They're not seeing anything, whether it's in the house, in the community, they're not seeing it.
I'm listening to you talk, and Saturday last, I attended an event, and it was centered around ex-convicts. And they are creatives.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Right? And I was standing in this room and I'm listening to one of the guys, and his name is Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And
Very talented.
listen to me. And I have this thing I say, those who have ears will hear and those who have eyes would see. And that is, I purposefully say that because I hope that plenty persons move beyond surface value information or surface value what the media says or what the media portrays, and really start to dig deep into the societal structure of what many of our black boys are facing. And I use the label black boys because I often try to tell people we are living in a status class society.
Yeah.
Whether you all want to believe it or not, we are part of Marxist status versus class society. And Saturday I was standing there, well dressed, everybody was well dressed, everybody well put together. And I'm telling myself, it's amazing to see what comes out of the prison when people are given a second chance.
Given an opportunity.
When people tend to believe that somebody else believes in me.
Correct.
So I take myself now to a place where, as a mother or a father or aunt or uncle or a sister or a brother or a neighbor who finds it difficult to make a youth feel that I believe in you. You are enough. You are here for a purpose. We may not know the purpose right now,
You wouldn't.
but we
You
can
wouldn't.
work through
Yes.
in identifying why you are where you are at when you are at this place.
And it's so true. And it could be anybody, eh? You know, I always like to give the anecdote of, well, he died now. His son was murdered, and it's as though, like,
He was
Alan was
murdered.
best. He just deteriorated.
Deteriorated.
Watch me, it was sad.
Yeah.
They are strong, you know, strong man in terms of not just physical prowess, but strong in terms of community work and, well, youth. He loved youth, right? So he used to trim us for free, right? So, you know, when you're small, when you're younger, you want a whole lot $15. It was about 15, 20 for a haircut back then. So, going by him to trim, you could get to keep your $15.
Right, because he terminated for free.
What do you mean you could buy a little 5 Ps, something to, you know? Yeah, you think to deal with in the afternoon. But trimming by him for free came at a cost. That man will rinse out your ears about life, about good living. And watch me, you want to keep that $20, but you know when you go there again, your ears rinse out. And simple like that, I see it's being planted. Because his gallery full of young men, eh? 'Cause everybody want a free haircut.
To save the money.
So when he talking to you, he talking to everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And he rinsing out your ear after ear after ear. And you're hearing what this man's saying. And the man talking about good living, right? Responsibility, everything the man's speaking about. And that seeds being planted.
Have you ever been incarcerated?
So, you get locked up as a
Right.
youth man, right?
Now, the reason I ask
yeah.
that is because sometimes speaking of your experience may save
Now-
someone else.
Let me tell you something what my uncle taught me about this society called Trinidad and Tobago. We have a lot of deep sea divers.
Explain.
We like to dig up your past. And those see the value of the present.
Right? However, you can't know where you're going
No, listen.
if you know where you come from.
Anytime people ask me, which I hear that question, what would you tell your 16-year-old self?
Yeah.
I will tell my 16-year-old self, live your life, boss. I will not trade anything. When I was 16,
So
to
now.
say, boy, I should have never. I will live my life because all those experiences is who have me here today. Those same two youth men who came by you the last time, Isaiah and Emmanuel. Let me tell you something, how I just deal with youth. Right? Because all of us were youth already, and all of us had problems with adults. Because one of the main problems with adults, I will say to you plain, who want to call and challenge, that is you. We as adults do not give youth a chance. Right? We like to talk about, I hate to hear this term, pay your dues. So I pay my dues. I suffer. I scrape. I struggle. And Isaiah to come and do the same. And Emmanuel. And Jern after them.
I wanted to stop, right?
Come now, man.
Because we have a sector of persons inside of here who tend to think that all the young people, all they don't reach. All you know.
Well, listen to this. Listen.
Who all they feel all they is.
Yeah, listen to this.
All they feel they could walk out of university and just so they end up in a good job.
But you could.
I'm just telling you.
No, but I understand. But so listen.
A person, some people inside
Hear how I
here.
deal with my youth and them. Now, when you called me last week, I changed in my mind, you know, I don't want to make it about Isaiah and Emmanuel. But it's an interesting combination, right? Because Isaiah called me and said, Mtima, we have an interview on the radio. I said, no problem. Now listen, I the boss not in charge, eh?
But he calling you.
I said, no problem.
Yeah.
So he said, then Emmanuel said, what's happening? We could discuss X, Y, Z, Bamba. I said, no problem. No problem. Isaiah and Emmanuel with me 10, 11 years now, you know. Isaiah started when he was 15 years old, you know. He's 25, you know. Emmanuel at 17, you know. Right? He's 27, thereabout, you know. Or 28. So they are around me all them years. So they know the culture of Roots Foundation.
Yeah.
So I don't need to tell them what to speak about on an interview.
Yeah.
They know what to speak about. I telling them what to speak about is not giving them that opportunity to think, to at least be in control.
To develop that authentic self.
Listen, our external hard drive crashed the other day. I all about ting. Emmanuel tell me, Mtima, bring it, let me check it out. And I asked myself, how Emmanuel reached there? Right? Emmanuel's a poet who started dabbling in photography, who now doing live streaming, right? As a career now, he have his own company. But all that push towards live streaming started in the pandemic 2020. How he reached fixing an external hard drive. So I drive into him and I say, boy, I had to ask Emmanuel how he reached it. When I reach home, I had him the hard drive. Start. I say, hold on, boss man. How you reach here? He started laughing. Mtima, YouTube. I said, I don't want to hear that. How you reach here? Yeah, remember when you went away in 2022 and we lost some data? He went and I said, Emmanuel, you started to dabble in this thing in 2020. We're talking about 2024, you want to fix my hard drive. And this is why I told Emmanuel, this is the problem youth will have with adults, and it's not the youth problem. It's our problem. So I spent 15 years, university, all kind of thing, and I'm an expert now in fixing external hard drives. And you come off of YouTube and want to fix a hard drive.
And that is the world we are now living in.
Well, then listen, we'll always have problems. We'll always have problems because we didn't like it when we were youth. What make us feel they would like it? Or they have to like it because I'm a big man, I'm in charge.
It's a culture. If we want to be honest,
we have to
right?
change it.
And I am in agreement with it because it's a culture. Let's use, for example, our governmental institutions. And this is not a secret. We have persons sitting in positions, and respectfully, that need to learn to make your way out.
And start a mentor.
That is a different word by itself. Besides mentoring, there are sectors of persons who don't want to take instructions or guidance from us. And what we feel, we know. And you are correct. What may have took you all 5 years to learn, it could take us 3 weeks because of the internet. And that is the reality we living in. What you all would have took 5 years to learn, we sit down and watch 2 videos on top here. Right, back. I'm going to see this. Right, I know what I'm doing. So bring it. I could fix this for you. But our culture is not designed where we welcome young persons into spaces that were created by...
How we want to solve the problem
I don't
right
know.
now?
And I don't know. And I've been asking that question.
How we want to solve the
and every
problem?
time I sit here, I always tell people it's never political, it's always social.
How we solving this problem? Could I tell you something?
It's always social.
Isaiah, I will call Isaiah. Isaiah, what does this mean? No matter what I ask Isaiah in terms of, like you say, music, whatever it is, he on the pulse because why? That is his time, right? Mm-hmm. So how you want me, 52-year-old Mtima, to solve a 16-year-old problem? The 16-year-old today is not when I was 16 years old.
Agree.
One thing separates us a lot is this thing called technology.
Yeah.
And we fail to understand
Yeah.
that. Right?
Yeah.
It had bullying when I was small. Yes, it had bullying when I was small. It had bullying now. But guess what?
It videotape now.
Hello. Mm-hmm. You slapped me when I was 16. But I now slap Mtima. Hey, she lie. she can slap me. You make kitchen she face or you slap me. Just like when I say, hey, and I see myself.
Yeah. Correct. No, everything is recorded.
Hello.
Everything is recorded.
And Queen Mother seeing you slapping me in Ghana.
Yes.
And say, Mtima, why that lady slap you just now?
What she said?
So that creates serious havoc now for bullying.
Yeah, it does. It does.
So that is one of the reasons why youth fight so much, because they're not fighting because she slapped me, Hello.
I could get famous.
All in Ghana.
I could go viral.
China, they see this woman slap me, boy.
So
I have to defend it.
So working with the youth for this many of years, right? Mm-hmm. Can you identify 3 key factors as to why it is a young person charts that rugged course?
You see, lack of hope. We like to call it, say hopelessness. Mm-hmm. If you, and it is real, if you really not seeing that future, and it could just be tomorrow, it could be Republic Day. You don't know where you're paying on for Republic Day, so you ain't going nowhere because you have nothing to put on. Mm-hmm. Right? We have nowhere to go. It's simple as that. If our youth is feeling hopeless, right? I thinking just now come down there and say, wait now. It have people, I am sure, if they're willing to say, will tell you they never bathed from a shower before in their life. It's only bucket. Because, why? They do have a proper running water system. Right in Belmont, still have problems with water in 2024. Right? So, when you can't take a proper bath, right? When you're feeling hopeless, when you're not feeling included, I spoke about that at length.
That's a serious
in
one.
the interview.
That is
when
a
you're
serious
not
one.
feeling included, right? What you want my response to be? What you, let me real society. What you want my response to be, right? This guy did some research some years ago, Elijah Anderson, on something called Code of the Streets. And he looked at street family and decent family. He didn't call them that. They call themselves that. Mm-hmm. Street family and decent family. Right? And street family is based on survival,
Yeah.
It's based on... We like to say it's a parental problem. All right, okay. But guess what? My aunt used to live Lavantil. and go down Westmoreland to see about a child and leave her children unattended. Right? So she can parent?
Now stick up in there, because this is the first time in my
I want to
life.
stick an ice pick there.
Listen to me. This is the first time in my life that this thought has ever been ignited in my head.
Every time I hear people say, and they
No,
like to refer to,
that's-
no, black people, they can't parent, but we minding your children, and your children come out doctors and lawyers, and we seen about your children.
This is the first time, sir,
And sometimes
that
it's
this
differently
thought-
abled children we seeing about.
this
And when-
thought has passed through
Listen,
my mind.
and when we have to reach in your house at 7 o'clock, what time
happening to mine?
we leaving home?
Yeah.
So my trainer to ensure they see about their own breakfast. When I making breakfast for your children. Right? When I coming back is when you come from work 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And when I come home for 5, you want to make sure you drain the last out of me. So I leave him by you 6 o'clock. And don't forget to do this, you do this, don't forget to sit there. So you're draining the last out of we mothers. Before they leave your house 6 in the evening, and you're not dropping them in Port of Spain. They'll travel out on their own. So what time do you back home now? Working at 8 o'clock. Either the children sleeping, or the house in a block lineman. And then you, she can't parent her own children. These single mothers, same single mother raise your child, eh? Same single mother raise your child, eh?
Never in my entire life thought about the equation
No,
like that.
listen, I just listen to people and I just watch, you know, and it's real unfair statements. But we can't parent. Okay, we need certain skills and things, but don't tell me we can't mind no child because we minding your child. Don't tell me that. When we mothers go to America to make a better living, what they doing? They minding somebody's child too?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or somebody's grandmother? And leave you with your granny? So we have to be honest with ourselves as society, right?
And I think
And
it's-
stop
I-
labeling.
I think it's more than being honest. I think we need to start to be open with our thinking, and not putting everything and everyone into a box. Yeah. And fitting everything into this one box. And if you don't fit into this box, then you're doing something wrong, or something is wrong with you.
Let me show you. Watch how deep this is, eh? Some weeks ago, bandy all over social media. You know, I don't take on them things because I am not no bandwagonist. All over social media, all over the news. 2 men risk their lives to save a man from a burning vehicle in sea lots. Say, ooh, good things that come out of sea lots. 2 weeks after, 2 boys found dead in a draining sea lots. So all our praise now.
It died down.
You really serious, boy?
It died down. BND, I want to say
2 weeks about 2 weeks apart, if so much, you know.
someone says your mom was doing a job and being paid. Right?
Well then according to the people meter on this station last night, she should get a national award.
Someone says, in actual fact, this it's talks like this that creates the hopelessness. You are the problem, poisoning the youths constantly with all these negative ideas of gloom and doom forever in this great land. Stop this stupidness. It's black people like this who are harming the youths. We are not in slavery days. 52 years old and talking this slavery days talks to the youths.
How that person what they doing?
Just say good morning.
No, what you doing?
I don't know what they're doing.
I could list all what I'm doing. And let me tell you something, and that is why I do really like to, that don't need responding to. That's number one, right? You can't, listen to me, Trinidad and Tobago and the world. If the youth don't feel included, right? I'm not a fan of Christmas this, right? But you come and do what? put a mic in front of them, put a camera in front of them, right? And all we saw is the big guns jumping out. We hear youth men saying, if I get something better, and better don't mean a box drain, right? Because you'll give them a box drain to fix. They will fix the box drain, they'll get money, they'll buy guns. Give them something sustainable, right? A lot of academics want to come and do research in communities. I'm also a gatekeeper, right? I told them, I said, I'm going to tell you something. When you go into a community and you do your research on their lives, when you leave, you have your doctorate, they have nothing, right? You have to give back to them, right? And not no $5 and $10. Money to spend. Give them a skill. Same see lots. You know what we did? A program called See Lots of Imagery, where that researcher did a photography workshop with the participants and train them in photography, right? Train them in editing. And she got a doctorate, you know. But she left them with something tangible.
Benefited. Yeah. Let's highlight some of the, what I want to call it, some of the stamps of the Roots Foundation. Some of those moments where it's when you, if you look back at the successes of the Roots Foundation, you tell yourself, yes, I am pleased.
So in 2013, we started an international spoken word festival where we have been bringing poets from all over the world, as far as South Africa, Australia, across the US, across the UK, Canada, Caribbean, all over, Brazil, right? So we started in 2013. That same year, Emmanuel's mom, she passed on now. I saw her this Sunday in front of the supermarket in Kunupia. She said, Mtima, my son doing spoken word poetry. I want you to mentor him. I said, we're starting something in Tongue, in Alice tomorrow. Send him down. He came down and he performed, and then we kept him for the week. I think probably was the Tuesday or the Wednesday. I had some poets staying in Normandy. They were staying in Normandy. So we had an event in Woodford Square, and I had to get the poets from Normandy into Woodford Square. Right? That have been now in... Yeah, so that have been 2014, so we started in 2013, so the following year now. Get some poets from Normandy to Woodford Square. I trying to juggle all that on my own. Emmanuel called me and said, empty mind Woodford Square. Right here, and his mom and his dad. I said, listen, I will send down some poets in a vehicle. Receive them for me. Which I did, which he did. So I'm not sure what's happening in Woodford Square. When I reach young now, one of the poets, Lamont Carey from DC, he pulled me square. He said, who is this youth man? My concern, because I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
He said, who is this youth man? I said, well, I know his mother, we're working together, bam, bam, bam. He said, Mtima, keep this youth. He said, he's very organized, he's very professional, right? And he gave Emmanuel high praises. Emmanuel has been with us since that time till now in a leadership position. Right? So that is the doom and gloom for your text. No. That is one. Right? Number two, we started a program called Abyssinia Journey of Change. Because the Rasta City, that time was Rasta City and Muslim City, it started to go into the schools, into the primary schools and all. I being Muslim, I say, Rasta City, Muslim City, I say, these fellas doing themselves understand, right? Because when you look at it in the time of Prophet Muhammad, peace upon him, right? When his own people were persecuting him, he sought refuge in a place called Abyssinia, which is now Ethiopia, by a king called King Negus with that dreadlocks, right? So it was myself and a guy called Gary Grant. He's a pastor. He have a past also history. I was at that time the imam in YTC for the lads and them. And we came together and we started this thing called Abyssinia, a Journey of Change. In the program, we met this young man. He just attached us, latched onto us, And one day he came to the program late. And I sent the driver back to pick him up now. When he came up now, we asked him, no, why he came late? But he was so distressed, crying and thinking, nobody didn't understand what was going on. His father was a old gangster. His father got killed. And he was standing talking to his godfather. And whilst they're talking, some gunmen come out the hills, shooting. And this little boy ran straight to school. Right? I said, I'll drop you home. He says, so you're sure? I said, don't worry, I'll drop him. I drop him home and thing. And we became real close. Then I learned something that, and I didn't want to share it with him until after the program. And I shared with him, I said, listen to me. And this had nothing to do with no gang thing, right? But his father, at one point in time, in his crazy life, wanted to kill me, right? So I shared with the youth man that after. When I shared it with him now, this was this young man's response. Way, boy, sir. And look how you mentoring me now. This youth man will call me so ever, and just say, Mr. Mtima, I just call it and say thanks for everything. He's a good person. I said, no problem. I said, I want to thank you, right? Because one thing he said to me, he does not want to carry on his father's legacy.
Yeah.
And he don't want to make his mother shame.
Yeah.
His mother died recently from cancer, so mother dead, father dead, but he's going real, real good.
Yes.
Like two. I'm going to get next one. I plenty. I'm going to get next one. Right? That program we did with C-Lots, we named the program Beyond the Lens. Right? And we started to do photography and filmmaking. We started that online during the pandemic. Right? So, I had this one youth. What I like to do, I like to throw them in the deep.
I'll learn to swim.
Right?
Yeah.
So, when he started to teach me, I find his style was a little kind of rough like that. So I said, boy, I have a little concern with this boy's style, but I don't want to tell him, because I didn't train him in the first place. So how would he know what is the right thing to do?
Yeah.
So I spoke to our next member. I said, listen, her mother's a teacher. I said, organize your mother to do some workshops with all of us. I joined the workshops also. So all of us did I won the training, send them back in. At the end of that 6 weeks program, an adult woman in that course shared what that youth man did for her. Right? How he brought her out of a dark space. And I sitting down listening online to this woman speaking. And hear what I'm saying? It's a good thing I didn't rein in this young man. Because whatever style, whatever technique.
It worked for someone.
For that woman.
Yeah. Someone here says, if we do not truly listen, we will never hear. This man is preaching. There will be no quick fix. What this brother is saying is the same as others, but in our class and status society, we listen, but we do not hear. We probably need to close our eyes and truly listen. Keep on, sir. There is a youth somewhere who needs to hear you.
So, how long you know Isaiah?
A while, because I met him through Smokey.
Okay.
Yes. And then his composure now, and when he tells of his demeanor, when he started the Roots Foundation to what this young man currently is, you can see that structure has been passed down in his life, even though, you know, when he talks about his mom, it's a really touchy situation.
Yes, it's traumatic still.
And we tend not to acknowledge that when some of us loses a parent, that can send us to act derailed.
Especially if you do have a strong support system.
Yes.
So
Isaiah now, where Isaiah is coordinating and directing,
hello,
and
listen to me.
It is a man who is growing into his purpose.
Hello. When I met Isaiah in 2014.
He said he was wild.
Hello. We used to fight a lot. Because people used to feel like it's my son. I said, boss, people thinking it's my son. I can't handle that around me, right? Because yes, and I didn't realize he was so young, right? So at that time in 2014, he would have been 14. And I want you to picture, no, we in a hotel, right? We didn't cater for Isaiah. And this 14-year-old walk up to you and telling you, I want to stay in the hotel. I said, well, small man, it has no space. You don't pay. I could pay for my own room. And I said, what? Isaiah left and came back probably within an hour, so long, with a packed suitcase and money to pay for a hotel room. Not one night. We were there for about 10 nights. And I tell my wife, I said, what the hell is this? Where this 14-year-old? Who is this boy? I was real concerned, right? Because I was 13 on the streets hustling. So I don't know he's a hustler.
Yeah, correct.
Right? So I tell my wife, I say, I have to keep first I had to know who this young man is. I didn't know anything about him. So I get to know his grandmother, his aunt, father, you know.
The village that he's a part of. Yeah.
And then I found out that it wasn't no illegal money. When his mother died, she left some money for him. And, you know, he will go and ask his aunt, they'll give him access, you know. So that's what he used to come and pay. So I had to first tell him, you know, that money is not really to
spend like that.
Hotel room, right?
Yeah.
Because hotel room today, you split or more, you know, that is an investment for your future. So that's some of the discussions we started to have, right? And Isaiah has grown and grown and grown and grown. I remember when we had hired Isaiah and Emmanuel through OJT. And I telling Isaiah, I say, I need to make some phone calls to some stakeholders. No. That's what I'm guilty to do. I said, what? I said, pick up that phone, go in the back room,
and
call me. So I pretended to be one of these stakeholders.
So I want to hear you interacting with the people.
Hello, good morning. Yes. I know Mtima Solwazi. I know Root Foundation.
Yes.
Right? And they sell me the idea. When he done that now, I say, right, look the list of names, call everybody.
In our last 5 minutes, I want to tell you that I think we are in a place where part of our population is in denial as to what is happening with plenty of our young people. Another part of our population, because they never lived it, they don't understand it.
They don't care.
And another part of our population is at a place where we are seeking information, also experiences, so we can understand the direction that our young people may go into. And I always tell people, your address doesn't define where you may end up in life. And when I say your address, I'm talking about your lamppost, your house number, whatever. Because when you get behind those bars, you meet people from all different walks of life, all different neighborhoods. So for you to stop for a moment and think that I'm not living in that community, so it can't happen to me, you're being naive.
What I want society to do, right, and move from behind that armchair, right, and that comfort of your laptop or your phone or your tablet, and I'm not saying come on the streets or go in the communities. Some of you may be able to do that. If you could do it, come. Join. That's just me alone. There are many other NGOs
many other organizations
and individuals. Yes. So if you could go with us, come with us. That is one. Number two, you may not be able to come with us because whatever, and we respect that. You may have the finances. Put your finances behind. You don't have to put it behind Roots Foundation. You have many other organizations. Find them, know the work they're doing, and support them. You may not have the finances to do that, but you know somebody.
Yeah.
You could say, hey girl, hey boy, this group doing this. Check them out now.
Last 2 minutes. Tell us what we're supposed to expect from this new building coming from
Roots
Foundation.
So
Let's end on a high.
We're opening a school called Roots Cafe TT. Creative Academy for Edutainment.
How you say it?
Edutainment.
I like that.
Now I coin him a thing. I see politicians take him a thing. Listen, Trinidad does not have a school to prison pipeline. We have a school to gangs pipeline. When you put a child on extended suspension and there's no system in place for them, it could even be 7 days. What a child in outside for 7 days without any support system, you're sending them to the gangs. So our school will cater for 12 to 17-year-olds because the Ministry of Education in their school discipline matrix identify Form 1 to 3s as the group that have a lot of challenges and difficulties. That is about 11 to 15 thereabout. So we catering for 12 to 17 years old. We also catering for 18 to 30 in the evening classes. We are offering photography, filmmaking, office management, and driving. You will come into our center walking, and you will leave driving.
I like it.
All these courses will be certified by the National Training Agency. Also, the building we occupy in is our old post office that was commissioned in 1889. So we have written to the National Trust to have that building listed as a heritage asset. We don't play, no.
I realize that.
And I'm going to tell you something. The school will be fully high-tech. All the students will have the tablet, interactive smart board, right? We'll have a recording studio up. I will show you some drawings after. I have it on my phone here. I gave me the engineer this morning. I'm excited to show somebody.
I can hear it in your voice.
We have a recording studio upstairs, right? So we training our young people, right? Also, because Roots is an empire, we have our own network. So we have, Emmanuel have Mani Media Studios. We have Sunbird Media. We have Horizon Media. So our youth will be job shadowing and job training with these institutions. So when they go out in the public,
they equipped and ready.
And somebody comments, they say
now,
what experience you have? Well, I work
we build inside Roots Foundation.
6 months with one. So,
Mister, right? This is amazing.
Roots Cafe TT.
Come in.
In God's willing.
2025. Love, light. Thank you so much for this. Keep doing what you're doing because the world needs more of this. Have a wonderful day, guys. Tameeka Castro, i95.5 News at noon.